We're snuck into September. We are still seeing summer, autumn, but this week, my first ever two-parter, I'm focusing on winter. When it comes to polytunnels, they are amazing spaces for elongating our growing season. However, they can also be absolutely horrendous when they go wrong, because when they go wrong, they really do go wrong. Now, there's a few problems that I've had with this polytunnel, and that's why I have a two-parter. The first is the cover has completely fallen apart on me. And the second is because of all of the rain and flooding that we had sort of from November right the way through to April and May time, is we have a really high water table in this area, and actually inside it has completely flooded. So I've got two things I need to sort out in this polytunnel: the outside and also the ground level. Now, when I got this polytunnel, which is just over 4 years time, obviously we think about the budget and what we can actually afford. And this was quite a good polytunnel, and I really thought about what I was going to get, even though it is this green cover, which is not potentially the best kind of cover. What I wanted to have was a latch door, because quite often on these green polytunnels, it is the zips which really go rusty and just start to fall apart on you. The frame itself is really good, and I'm really happy with that, and despite all the winds, it has never moved. What has happened though is the actual cover itself has completely fallen apart. Now, what I have with this one is a polytunnel which is no longer available. So rather than being able to replace the cover like for like with another cover, I've not been able to do that. So if I'm going to sort this out, I need to remove the battens that I have put in place, where I have tried to patchwork, staple gun this cover together so that it would still work. I need to remove that, get rid of it, and I've actually bought a different polytunnel. Now, it's still a 3 meter by 6 meter, but it's a slightly different shape. And in fact, it's the same kind of shape that I've got on the polytunnel frame that I've used for my fruit cage. Now, I've sort of done some of the measurements on that. It may fit, but it may not sit snugly. So there's two possibilities here. I may be able to just put the new cover over the top of this really strong, sturdy frame, or I may have to put the other frame over the top. Now, in itself, that sounds a bit crazy, but actually the new frame, or the new polytunnel that I have bought, is nowhere near as strong as this, because again, thinking budget, and I just really wanted the cover itself. I love my allotment neighbours, but I think they're going to hate me. They are helping. So this has certainly been a really big job, and I'm so pleased that this is a two-parter. But finally, the new polytunnel frame and cover is on. Now, it might seem a little bit crazy to be putting this frame over the top of the old frame, but actually my guess was exactly spot on. The frame on the new one is really flimsy, and if I hadn't done it, I don't think it would actually last. Now, I did have a few problems because this cover actually wasn't long enough to go over the original frame. So I've had to actually dig my frame, my original one, down 30 centimeters, which did give me a little bit of opportunity to have some area for earthing in both the frame and the cover itself. So lots of edging done, dug down, put the cover under, put some wood against that cover as well, and then cover that over with soil as well. So hopefully this is nice and sturdy. I've had to redo the actual doorway so that I could keep the latch door, which has meant that I've had to get my sewing kit out at the allotment and just sort of stitch the old door back to the frame. And again, this is a really good idea, because already the zip which came with this original polytunnel cover is already giving away. So if you're going to be getting yourself a polytunnel, obviously we have to think about budget. There are some really amazing big ones which cost a lot more money. But if you're working on a budget, you're going to have to make sure that you're really digging in your polytunnel, both the frame and the cover itself, if you've got any hope of it actually lasting through some of our really stormy, wet winters. The only thing left now is to do the inside. That is for another day.